Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the perfect 2016 World Team Table Tennis Championships in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm Adam Bobrow, your commentator, and commentating with me, Jill Parker. How you doing, Jill?
I'm very well, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited to see the scramble here continue. We've seen a lot of interesting matchups. You and I were talking about the strategy and lineup and how these players got here, which teams beat which teams in the groups and whatnot. Can you update us a little bit on who these teams beat?
Well, Japan, in their group, they beat the Czech Republic, Brazil, Korea, a Democratic, Thailand. They lost to Germany 2-3 in the group. But then they went on to beat them in the quarterfinal 3-0. They got their revenge.
Right, so there's been a little bit of interesting sort of mix and matchup here as far as getting punished in the groups and coming back prepared just a day later. So Japan beat Germany, and in the last round, it was Korea DPR, known as North Korea to many, who beat Singapore in my opinion, the most exciting team matchup of this whole tournament so far, Jill. Don't know if you had a chance to see it.
Unfortunately, I didn't, because I was commentating on the other table on the men's match.
They keep us busy here with lots of excellent matches.
They certainly do.
But Feng Tianwei had, I'd say, the best match I've seen yet against Kim Song-yi. And Kim Song-yi came back to win it for Korea DPR. So they're playing with the same lineup here. And it's a pretty interesting lineup. We talked about how these two teams have already played, Japan and Korea DPR. And Japan won 3-0. And this time, Korea DPR changed their lineup. The order, they're using the same three players, but it turns out Japan switched their order as well, using the exact three same players, so they're all playing the same match for a chance at revenge for Korea DPR.
Yes, it'd be strange. Well, it'd be strange, but it'd be great to actually speak to the coaches and see what their thoughts are and why did they change, because you've now got Ito playing two instead of playing in the third position in the first match. But it's strange how they've done their changes, but they've got the same players as they played in the group match, so we shall see.
Yeah, I think it's a trial and error thing with the coaches. I was talking with Jörgen Persson a little about the Swedish decision. Anton Kjellberg was, did very well at the Swedish Open at the end of last year and came out here and didn't have the most successful tournament in his head-to-head. I believe it was against France, so they gave Jörgen Persson a try and he played very well. So after that, he sort of earned his spot to stay on the roster here. And similarly, Ai Fukuhara had a little bit of struggle on the way in earlier in the group stages. Proved herself in a clutch match to beat Germany, get revenge over Christine Silbereisen, the person who knocked her out just the day before. But even still, Mima Ito has been in incredible form. And being a professional athlete playing for the national team, you're constantly on trial. The coach is watching your every move, checking each other's equipment out here. Kim Song-yi, we believe, has long pips on the backhand, and Mima Ito has medium pips on the backhand. It seems to be a Japanese tradition between Ai Fukuhara, Mima Ito, and Misako Wakamiya to use the medium pips on the backhand. Very versatile, too. Sometimes they take the pace off the ball and really slow it down. Other times, full-out aggression with the punching backhand. Mima Ito, for her size, has one of the hardest-hitting forehands I've seen. And I'd say the beginning of 2015, she looked like she might find herself in the top 5 in the world if she continued her trends. But eventually maybe fatigue settled in, burnt out playing so many World Tour tournaments. And she settled in nicely. Right now at world rank number 12, only 15 years old. And still one of the more celebrated women in table tennis today. Her opponent, on the other hand, at 21 years old, Kim Song-yi, is world rank number 89, but I think the world rankings are not indicative of her actual level. This is lack of exposure. That's what that is. The Korea DPR just not getting to play as many international tournaments. So Jill, for those of you who don't know Jill Parker, she's a legend in England. She's a medalist at the highest levels of English and European table tennis, for that matter, and a defender. So we're going to have a lot of exciting matches for you to chime in on and share some of your insight as an experienced defender yourself. Kim Song-yi, the first player for Korea DPR, and Ri Myung-sun, both defenders. So Jill, we've watched, I guess you were playing the 70s and 80s quite a bit, is that right?
Yes, I stopped playing in '83.
83, that was the last time that England made it this far, or I guess as far as they were yesterday in a World Championships, right?
That's correct, and you're cheering the boys on tonight.
Just incredible how well they've been playing. It's exciting to see it too, because I think they've been working really hard overseas and training and deserve what's coming.
Yes, definitely. They're all three lads train incredibly hard. They're playing abroad, not living at home, so hope it pays off tonight.
Yeah, we'll see, but right here, it's going to be a very unique opportunity for Korea DPR as they come out to play one of the few tournaments a year that they do versus some of the top women in the world from Japan, the number 2 seed in this tournament versus the number 9 from Korea DPR. That's the power. I mean, Mima Ito is not a very tall player. She's got to be about 5'1", barely over 153 centimeters. Still manages to reach out and crush that ball. Just amazing, right, Jill?
It is amazing, because I thought the Korean DPR player played that with really heavy chop, but she was able to hit straight through that with such power.
The first point for Kim Song-hee, right there in red. Now, these two have played twice before at the China Open last year. Kim Song-hee won. More recently, a few days ago, was Mima Ito. And I find this very interesting, Jill. I think to see how much the players from Korea DPR can adapt. You know, they're having a second chance all first 3 matches here to turn the scores around.
Well, that often happens when you play a team twice in the same event. The same result doesn't always happen.
Trying to see what the warning was here. Sounded like it might have been a service warning. Umpires have been very keen to make sure that serves are all proper. I think what it must have been, if I remember correctly, Kim Song-hee was warned earlier for serving over the table, crossing the back line. Tough. I mean,
you're not allowed to do that. You can't serve over the table, so the umpire is obviously correct with that, if that's what's happening. They'll be looking very closely.
And this is beautiful combination play. Mima Ito using the medium pips on the backhand side to really deflect and slow down the ball. Get a popped up shot. I think we're going to see Kim Song-hee adjusting a little bit more to the rotation change off the backhand throughout the match. Rushing into the table, that forehand attack was crucial in the deciding 5th match to beat Yu Meng-yu of Singapore just a few hours earlier today. Quite tough to predict, too.
Kim is changing the spin. A lot of heavy backspin, and then putting no spin on the ball, a float ball. And Ito really having to look to see what spins on the ball, and sometimes can make errors. Well, she missed that float ball there.
The way things started off for Mima Ito, it looked like she could read everything clearly. Just setting it up with soft spinny shots like that, just on the table, following it up with kill shots from over. That's difficult. Those are the high ones that we were so impressed Mima Ito was able to hit through in the first 2 points of the game. But they're just loaded with spin. They're out in front, so they're tough to really get the lift on. Now we just let loose, trying to play off the medium pip side, corner to corner, having a little trouble there. What a turnaround in game 1.
That first hard ball into the middle, into the crossover position, is always difficult for a defender. Didn't quite get round.
the match that she won, Kim Song-hee against Yu Meng-yu, she really started attacking a whole lot more. She showed how versatile she was and that she could just change it up when she needed, because the solid defensive game wasn't holding up. You know, I think something that you mentioned earlier is something we talked about a lot in the last match that they played. If you can get the defender in near the table, hit it with some decent pace to the middle while they're close to the table, it's a good strategy in general.
That's right. You know, moving the defender in and out, wide out to the angles, and then if you can catch it into the body.
As far as cutting in goes, we've got a cutaway match here, starting off 11 points to 4. Kim Song-hee with a dominant game 1 to turn things around. We'll see if Mima Ito can adjust in game 2 just after this. As the players come back to the table, it's Kim Song-hee who's leading 1-0 over Mima Ito. So Jill, you were saying how these players have been doing so far this tournament?
Well, Ito so far has won 5 and hasn't lost a game, so unbeaten in this tournament. Whereas Kim has won 7 and lost 2. Obviously the one against Japan and one against Singapore.
Right, the Feng Tianwei match, which was probably the best match this tournament for me. You can understand why they put Ito in the quick spot. Is that the term you use to play the 4th singles?
We say the quick ones, yes.
The quick ones. So the 1st and 4th here. I want to make sure she gets 2 in, undefeated so far.
Clever play there by Ito. She pushes, she drops some short, then she hits the next one hard, straight at her.
Right, the variation in her game is what makes her so potentially threatening. I mean, when her consistency's on, which it has been a lot over the last year and a half, she's a tough player to beat. Beautiful angle. Kim Song-hee getting in just at the right distance from the table, right near it to play it wide out to the forehand. It's a good read from Kim. Off the medium pips, top spin shot is tough to really see how much spin is on. Now, Jill, as a professional former top level player, do you think that Mima Ito hears the news about all the results that her opponent had against other players?
Possibly, but I mean, as a player, I think you can take it in and store it, but at the end of the day, you get on that table and that's your opponent, and you just play your tactics how you're going to be. So whatever happens, happens. You can only do your best.
Right. Right now, it seems that Kim Song-hee is doing her best. I think some of the most beautiful chops I've seen in the game, Kim Song-hee, it almost looks like a very flat undercut. Circles way out wide. So deep on the table, Mima Ito caught completely off guard. Still looks shocked.
No, that was a great length stroke, just touching the white line. And she serves off.
She seems a bit shaken by the last few points. I mean, just the whole scenario that she's playing a player who shows up completely different than she was a day or two ago. I mean, the last time they played, Mima Ito won 3 games to 0, didn't drop a single game. And now she's in trouble in game 2. Oh, the backhand attack. She didn't even twiddle for it to break off the edge, but still, that's some innovative, creative play right there. How can you really expect that? The long pips on the backhand?
Well, it's difficult to hit a backhand with long pimples because it comes through very, very flat. But obviously, she thought she could go for that shot. She's obviously tried it in practice.
Now, maybe just to play it safe, I'll refer to them as pimples, because we couldn't really confirm the length. It just sort of seems like the way she's played with them throughout, the pace coming off it, that they must be long. Young's son in the back already running around getting warmed up, and they're still in game 2. It's a new tactic here for Mima Ito. We haven't seen too many blocks off the loop. I guess most of the loops have been quite unpredictable and difficult for her to even get in front of.
Well, it's that element of surprise. So I think that's why it's good for a defender. They can try and break it up. Keep the opponent guessing.
Oh, and that one stays right next to the net after the top. I mean, no chance of that. We've seen a few nets like that that were just devastating today. It was almost exactly that, right off the top, just skating across. And another quick game, 11-6. A total of 10 points, not even enough to win one game yet between the first 2 for Mima Ito. We'll see if she can change things up. Figure things out for game 3 right after this. As we come back to the table, the Japanese coaching staff and contingency in the crowd. And I think both teams here have quite a fan club. Very vocal North Korean fans, also the Japanese staff. Now, Jill, you and I were talking a little bit about how surprising it is that after the first few points of this match, and also considering their last result head-to-head, that Mima Ito's in hot water right now, down 0-2.
Yeah, but I do think that Kim came out with the blocks. Playing a game straight away. Composing herself, changing the spin, really not letting Ito get into any rhythm at all.
And it seems that she's really changed the trajectory of her chops. I feel like Mima Ito's slow spinny loops are getting popped up earlier. Look at all this innovation on the receive.
Well, that was a great angle, wasn't it?
Oh, beautiful, and such a clever inside-out receive. Michael Anderson had worked with her before. She came to Sweden, to Halmstad, to train. He said he likens her to Waldner in her creativity, just her playfulness and outside-of-the-box thinking, which, you know, for Kim Song-hee, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing to hear.
It's good. I mean, Waldner is one of the best players that's ever played, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I guess there's nothing negative when anyone in table tennis calls you a Waldner. It's probably the highest compliment you can have.
Exactly.
It's just interesting to think of someone from Korea DPR being on the playful side, being outrageously creative and so funny, humorous, and just, yeah, I'd say outside of the box.
Well, is he referring to a play around the table or off the table or a bit of both?
Yeah, I would say the Waldner thing is on the table. I would say the fun personality and humor is personality, just, you know, off the table as well.
That is unusual.
Yeah, I will say, just sort of random, Mima Ito, her mom showed me a video the other day of her doing karaoke with her coach, and she's pretty hilarious herself, quite a good dancer, and almost looked like a rapper jumping around on the couches. Still trying to get a hold of that video. But right now it's Misako Wakamiya who's having the conversation with Mima Ito. Misako Wakamiya beat Lee Xiao not too long ago at the end of last year, using the medium pips on the backhand. Of course, Misako Wakamiya, left-handed, so a little bit different. So we'll see if Ito's been inspired, got some confidence back after this timeout. Oh, and that is a break. We still haven't seen a very different Ito. She's still leaving a few balls loose using the medium pips up on the table. Seemed like she tried to get a little creative and bend around the ball on that loop instead of going for power and just trying to find the middle or hit it wide.
There was a heavy forehand topspin ball there.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since those slower spinny ones have really thrown Kim for a loop, no pun intended. There it is. The shallowness of that last ball forced Kim Sung to take it from right near the ground. And the ball got popped up high. This was the pattern that started game one looking so confident and so promising for Mima Ito.
If she can get into those longer rallies, bringing Kim in and out, moving it around the table, but then she can't make any silly errors.
Yeah, it seems like the medium pips backhand has been trouble for her to control ever since a little after the start of game one. Beautiful inside-out forehand. You know, I've seen Mima Ito against choppers had a huge comeback against Han Ying at the German Open last year. Down 0-3 and just suddenly a light bulb went off and it was just murder. Mima Ito, every game wasn't even close after she took the fourth against Han Ying in a best of 7. Trying something a little different, adding some side spin with the backhand over the table to start off the point. And I like this for Mima Ito. It shows that she's looking for different ways to get higher shots to smash for winners. Solid blocking game on the forehand side. Well placed too, right back into the middle. Mima Ito's doing a good job, I'd say, of covering the middle right now, because Kim is very astute to where there's a hole and where there's an opportunity when she attacks.
And she needs to do that to break the game up. Otherwise, Ito will then get into a rhythm by pushing and top spinning. But if Kim comes in and attacks, then she's going to be thinking, oh, what do I do now?
Right, it forces her to hesitate, be a little bit concerned. Can't get too comfortable. It's a very difficult shot. You see the opening on the table, but it's the shortest side. It's almost a gamble, I'd say, when Kim goes out that wide on the forehand side with the backhand to tempt Mima Ito to try that shot. today, one thing that was very effective against Kim Song-yi was the soft, spinny shots to the forehand side, because she chose to fish several of them back. And for Yu Meng-yu, the topspin coming back was much easier to counter. So I think Ito might have to find some play to the forehand side. It was a good start, but there was just such a passive third ball. Playing the touch game is not so effective out here right now.
Oh, but it was clever. She got a wide angle.
Break again. Ito had the lead, was up by just one, and for the last several points, Kim Song-yi just sort of put Mima Ito into hesitant mode and passive play. Kim's attack is too strong for Mima Ito to be playing just a touch game out here. After all that contact and patience, Mima Ito just misses. We've got 3 match points now for Kim Song-yi. I thought there was one ball that came back with topspin on the forehand or just into the backhand side of the table that Mima Ito might step around to take off the bounce. But we just didn't see that sort of aggressive initiation out here for Mima Ito after the start of the match. And there it is, a huge victory to start it off. Kim Song-yi taking back revenge here, taking back the other day versus Mima Ito to put 1 point on the board for Korea DPR. And look at the fans. Absolutely loving Kim Song-yi saving the match against Singapore and putting Korea DPR in an excellent position to start off this vengeful match here against Japan, the number 2 seeds. Jill, we've got the second match coming up, and it's going to be another defender, Ri Myung-sun versus Kasumi Ishikawa. Stay tuned, guys.